So the Enneagram. Do 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 do.
Has its own melody. I like that.
Do 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 do.
You and me, we are very similar. I am a raccoon and you are the eagle.
Let's begin.
It's the your nice things show.
Nice thing.
Your nice things.
Your nice thing.
Oh my gosh. It's too good. I haven't smiled like this in a long time.
Seriously, I love that. We should totally make that a thing. Welcome to your nice things. And our little cat, our little phrases would be you and me. Stuff like that. Seriously, I love it.
Yes. So good. Okay, so the Enneagram. So basically, apparently, according to this model, when you're born, you start to unconsciously pick a survival mode. Basically your avatar to survive in this crazy, weird world. And there's 9 options.
Yeah.
And you usually gravitate to the one that's easiest to put on. And so that could relate to your nature and nurture, you know?
Yeah.
But we definitely gravitate to the one that's the easiest to, how can I quickly survive?
Yeah.
So it's not really like a happy-go-lucky thing to learn about. It's more about learning about, oh, this is what I do to defend myself. These are the patterns that this is how I protect myself. So I've developed skills and values, mainly skills, to that best help me avoid pain and suffering. So that's where you feel good about it. Oh, the 9 is the peacemaker, or the 7 is the adventurer.
Yeah.
But there's a flip side to it.
Yes.
I'm the peacemaker because I'm a conflict avoider.
Yes.
And that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes you look at your vices, and then it shows you virtues to get out of those vices. And then also, it's the only personality thing where it's telling you this is not who you are. I'm not a 9. You're not a 7 or an 8, or this is just something you've developed to protect yourself, and then you're something more deeper and profound than this number, than this avatar. So you can disassociate yourself from it, and then it's like a roadmap out. So you notice patterns, like usually, so what you do when you're stressed or overtired, overworked is usually the same.
Yeah.
But when you're in a healthy space, you can do all kinds of things. So that's how you kind of know what your number is. It's like, what do you do consistently when you're super stressed, overtired, whatever. So I avoid conflicts. So that tells me that I've chosen the 9 avatar, right? So that's kind of what the 9 does. Yeah, I'm a 9. Yeah, well, I wear the 9.
You wear the 9. Yeah.
I'm not the 9, I wear the 9. Don't identify with it, but it helps me see my triggers and my patterns and what I do when I'm unhealthy.
Yeah.
And then the 1 is the reformer, so they want to make things as good as possible, as perfect as they can be. They just, and so they avoid issues or problems or self-worth or whatever by like being as good as they possibly can. And then the 2 is the helper. And so, wait, let me think. The 1 is the reformer. Their vice is resentment, and their virtue is serenity. That's really important to remember, is the vice and the virtue. So it's very important for a 1 to seek serenity when feeling resentment. What I like about this too is like, okay, if I'm feeling resentment, what's my way out? Oh, seek serenity. And then the 2 is the helper. Their vice is pride, which is weird. You wouldn't think that. But they pride themselves on knowing what's good for you before you know what's good for you. And they pride themselves on helping when maybe somebody really doesn't need help, like the monkey taking the fish out of the water. Like, here, fish, let me put you in the tree. Let me help you into the tree. It's like, I think it's a Zen saying. That's a 2. That's the helper, yeah. So they pride themselves on knowing what's best for you. And then their virtue is humility, being humble.
Is this in relation to somebody else, or is this in relationship to the world? Or is
It'd probably be to the world, like
the world?
to the world. Well, I want to know specifically what you mean by that, because like it's definitely in relation to humans, I believe. So when you say world,
Like how, like let's say a two could essentially also be like, well, I know how to fix the environment, and this is the way to do it. You're taking such a stance to where you're actually like, you're so sure about something, but you're destructive at the same time.
could be.
Somebody
That,
else.
no, I think it could relate to how you navigate. Yeah, I think all things. I would say all the above, which probably seems a little bit more like the one. But again, if the numbers are close together, they can. Yeah. The 3 is the achiever, performer. Very efficient. Their vice is deceit. And their way out is authenticity. So like for instance, if there was a get together with a bunch of like network types or a conference, the 3 would like pick the person that they're supposed to influence, like the most influential person in the room, and then be that person's poster child. Like they would deceive themselves almost. Like they would really good at put on a mask. And they'd be the kind of person where afterwards is like, did you meet that guy? He was amazing. But he's just being amazing for you, he wasn't being authentic. Like he knew what.
Right. Everybody else kind of sees through his shit.
Yeah.
The person in the room that he's
Trying to impress.
yeah.
Maybe. I mean, they're really. If the person can see through it, then it's like, yeah. But they're so good at deceit they can deceive themselves, and it's really important for a 3 to have at least one person in their life that calls them out and shows them that their self-worth is innate, not doesn't have to be earned. Yeah, it's big for a 3. And then a 4 is the romantic. Oh no, did I forget their vice? Oh, it's envy.
Is it drama queen? Isn't it number 4?
Kinda, yeah. They will be the most unique, creative person in the group, and
That's cute.
yeah, like no one can understand me. I've been down the deepest, darkest hole, but they're really good with empathy.
Exactly.
But also, yeah, they can go into serious states of depression, for sure. Be very self-destructive. So balance is and learning balance and learning their worth is equal with everyone else's, right? 4s suffer from shame quite a bit, and then a 5, that's the knowledge, knowing as much as they can about something, and the vice with that one. When you think there's scarcity, like there's scarcity of something, you want to hoard it, or like a Scrooge. Like
It's a Scrooge again. I've heard that word so many times.
like there's not enough, and I can't. There's not enough to give. Like the opposite of abundance. Like
Okay.
yeah, a little bit of a miser.
Yeah.
But the way out, yeah, is to give. The more you give, the more you get, kind of thing. And then the 6 is the majority of the world, apparently. The loyalist. They take time to pick who they're going to be loyal to, but once they've chosen them, that's their person. And their big thing is anxiety. That's their vice. So their virtue is confidence. But that's the problem. If the majority of the world is a 6, then if you as a leader know that, you can be like, oh, this is a dangerous thing for you. This is high anxiety. I can protect you.
Yeah.
Oh, you have my vote. Are you?
Exactly.
I'll be loyal to whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the 7, the adventurer, Peter Pan syndrome, doesn't want to grow up.
Yeah.
They avoid pain and suffering by planning the next fun thing. They have more fun planning the next fun thing than actually doing the fun thing, because they're distracting themselves from their suffering by just fun, which is cool to a point, but at some point it's gonna catch up with them. So their vice is gluttony. They just want, oh, I just want the next fun thing.
Yeah.
So their virtue is restraint. And then the 8 is very powerful, very confident, usually leader. Their vice is lust for intensity. So say we're in a room and there's not enough like intensity, they'll like talk about Donald Trump. They'll be like pro Donald Trump, pretend to be, just to start a fight. Like they like the intensity. and then when there doesn't need to be any intensity, oh yeah, so you're resonating with the. Okay, so then.
Oh, I always see myself as such a rebel, but you're right. That is
Yeah.
the intensity in your room. I like.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily sexual lust. It's just the lust for intensity.
Yeah.
Like let's mix this up.
Yeah.
This is boring.
Oh my God. And what is their way out? Wow.
Oh yeah, what is their way out? Oh, dang it! Why am I spacing this one? It's a long. Oh, it's. I want to say sensitivity or like. No, what is it? It's. I have this whole chart. This whole thing. I'll send it to you. And there's like way more to it. It's hard to explain without the matrix. Looking at the matrix, because there's like the number that you gravitate to when you're really healthy, like.
And then when you're not.
Yeah, you go to this other number.
Yeah. I've seen the Enneagram. I went to a hypnotherapist once, and she used it, and like the whole so a 9 goes into number 2, the unhealth, when he or she is.
Oh,
And all
yeah,
that stuff, like what you go into when you're.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk about the wings real quick because we're kayaking.
Yeah.
So like, if you're an 8 and you have the 9, access to the 9 and the 8. So if you, or 7, sorry.
Yeah.
So if you can lean into the healthy virtues of the 9 and healthy virtues of the 7, then you can kayak straight. But if you're like an 8 with a strong 7 wing, you're just going to be kayaking in circles. So it's good to utilize like the numbers that are beside you and use them both healthily, and then you can go straight. So yeah, mine would be the 1 and the 8, which is hard. 9s, man, because we avoid conflict, and 8s create conflict.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry. But that's important for us because we need to embrace our 8, right? So that's why it's healthy for 9s with a strong. I'm a 9 with a 1 wing for sure.
Yeah.
Like
And the 1 was the
reformer make things good. Like when I'm on a project, it's got to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like it just bothers me like to no end. I hide that pretty well with my raccoon self. Not a lot of people know that, but yeah, I'm super anal. In weird, unseen ways. And then, so I go to the 6 when I'm super unhealthy. So if I have high anxiety in my life, it's like, oh, I'm really unhealthy. I need to get out of this situation. And then I go to a 3, a healthy 3 when I'm like a high performer, super efficient.
Yeah.
Like you just exude all the healthiest parts of that number.
Okay.
And some would say that you're actually more that number than you're the avatar you chose.
Yeah. Huh. So what is it the same pattern for each number or is it different? Like for example, if I'm an 8, let's just say.
Then you
seem to resonate. So would it be the same pattern for me? Like I would also end up in a what? In a 4?
Yeah, you'd be
2?
your wings obviously 9 and 7. Where does I have this on the paper? Where do 9s go when they're healthy? I have to see the paper. Yeah.
But I mean, is it like it's a constant for the number you are? It's not so much per person. It's like this number will always go boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Yeah. If my avatar is a 9, that the ways the grids put together or the diagrams put together doesn't change. Yeah. But I thought I was a 7 when I was in my early 20s. It took me 10 years to realize I was a 9 because I didn't really understand the Enneagram back then. I thought it was just this fun, go-lucky thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, where do you go when you're in pain, and what are your behaviors that are not ideal? Because I thought it was a good thing to make the peace. And then when I realized, like, you try to keep the peace because you're avoiding conflict. I'm like, oh, this hurts because it's true.
See, that I resonate with that a lot too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what time it is.